All right, everybody. It is the Chase Carter Concept Podcast for Friday, November 27th. I'm doing it a day after Thanksgiving. Was going to do it yesterday, but my girlfriend made me go to family dinner at her sister's house. Who's a chef? Who's a really good cook, a really good chef. I don't know if you call a chef a cook. If you say a chef is a good cook, is that an insult? Because a chef doesn't want to be called a cook. I'm not a cook, I'm a chef. Well, you do cook well. That's besides the point. I want to be called a chef. So we went over to her place. It was a very nice dinner. Turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes. A meal that I did not deserve. Too good. Helped out a little bit, set the table. And that's another thing. When you're at a chef's house, do you offer to help cook? Like you don't. I'm a pedestrian cooker. Okay, so do you need me to carry anything? That was my go-to. Do you need me to set the table? Helped out with that. There wasn't pretty much anything else for me to do besides sit there and listen to them talk about, chick stuff. So it wasn't. I didn't add really to besides when her sister grilled me about what my intentions were for her sister. Like, do you plan on getting married? Do you plan on having any kids? Do you believe in love? I was like, no, and no. No. I love when people grill me about that, and then they're like, "Oh, it's like I don't believe in marriage," and it's so interesting to say that around people who are married or have been married. It's like 90% of marriages turn out in divorce. And they're like, "Well, that shouldn't stop you." And I said, "Well, if I went for a job where only 90% of people got employed, wouldn't you tell me that's a stupid idea?" And I'm not going to do that. And I was like, I'm not trying to protect myself not getting married. I was like, she makes more money than I do. So if anything, she would pay me alimony. So I'm not trying to, hoard my riches here. I'm not some millionaire guy who's like, no, I don't believe in marriage because the chick could take half. She should not want to get married. Technically. I don't know. I just think it's nowadays it's an empty gesture. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know if that's how it always was. I know back in the day, it was a business transaction. Men used to sell their daughters to like richer families for, say, land or farm animals or what have you. That's why the father of the bride, is it the father of the bride pays for it? I can't remember the old where it actually comes from. But I guess it depends on your culture, where you come from. But yeah, it's just a weird thing in general. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do 10 years. Like, I'm going to be with her for as long as I can think of. There'd be no instance for me to break up with her in my head right now. Unless she turns out to be have a completely different personality that manifests every, like like Jeepers Creepers. On the 23rd year of the 23rd summer, this beast comes out. Like, if that happens, then yes, I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. I don't need you driving around in a van collecting my organs. That was a good movie. First and I think the second one was okay, if I remember correctly. Then the third one was so bad. Just visually effects speaking. But if they made another one of those, it'd be so good. But Corey wouldn't watch it because it's a scary movie. She doesn't watch scary movies. This doesn't make any sense. It's a movie. I think it's real. My brain goes, if it's real. I don't like video games if they're scary or if I can't jump. But had a good time over at her sister's house. Yeah, but what she had? Oh, mac and cheese. She made this mac and cheese, and it's some of the best mac and cheese I've ever had. Because she said she put butter. Oh, I can't remember, milk, butter, and something, flour. I can't remember. I got to ask her. I got to ask her again. But she put butter, some ingredient that I never thought of putting mac and cheese, and something else before you even add the cheese. You like bubble it up, get that. It's like a paste. It's like a real creamy paste kind of, I don't know, concoction. And then you put the cheese in. Then you put the noodles in. I'm telling you, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, enjoyed myself. Corey was all nervous, like they're gonna grill you or they're gonna interrogate you. I'm like, I can answer questions. I'm an adult. I can answer questions. I'm good at dodging. But it was just funny having her sister. What are your intentions for my sister? I was like, I plan on dating her and treating her well. I think that's my job, and that's it. That's all. I don't have to do these grandiose gestures. No. If you want that, and you want those Instagram posts where people are shooting basketballs, and when the basketball goes through the hoop, it's a blue color. No. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them. Sorry. If you want Instagram posts every, this is what we do as a family, and this is us in September 2005. Look how far we've grown. It's like, you have your head up your own ass so far. Like, can we just live in can I just appreciate you for you in the moment? I don't need these Instagram stories. I don't need all of this stuff. It's nonsense. It's utter nonsense. It's for people who the people who post more about their relationships. It seems like if the people that I know, at least, or this might be subjective, I don't know, seem like the most unhappy people. It's like the people who always post their kids, and then the second they have like a 2-week break without any kids, they're posting, oh, my week without any kids. Well, I thought kids were great. I thought your family is the most treasured thing in the world. Oh, it's not. Oh, it's not. Oh, okay. Weekend without the kids, finally get to be me. Woo! What are you doing? What are you doing? And then see, my parents never said that stuff around me. At least I don't remember. Granted, I was a handful, so I can only imagine them getting a break from just me in general. I can only imagine how excited they were. My dad was always up the hill working, or down the hill working hours away. So maybe I was too much of a handful. He just, I can't deal with this kid I made. So I'm gonna get a job that's as far away as possible. Stepdad, a truck driver. He's like, Chase, I love your mom, but you're a handful, and I'm gonna drive to Chicago for a week and a half. Bye. That'd be funny. You're just a kid and you have all these different, there's multiple stepdads, and then they all just pick up jobs that have them traveling. It's like, what does that say about you? But it was a nice time. It was a nice time. We talked about Christmas decorations, and I told her about my quote unquote, like my joking traumatized childhood of my mother and all of her Christmas decorations. I was like 20 color coded, like Rubbermaid totes, like barrels basically of Christmas decorations. There's 15 green and orange ones for, it was orange and brown for not for Halloween, but for Christmas, and then green and orange for Halloween. And it was just, too many decorations. I'm done with decorations. I'm done. She was like, what if Corey wants to are you going to get a tree? Are you going to get a tree? No. Corey tried to bring down a tree. She had a small 2 or 3 foot Christmas tree in one of the cabinets or whatever. She asked me, can you bring that down? I'm going to sell it. I'm going to take pictures and sell it. So bring it down. And she takes it out. And before she even takes any pictures, she's like, I kind of like it. I want to keep it. Would you be mad if I put it up? I'm like, why would I be mad if you put up the Christmas tree? I'm not decorating it. I'm not taking any time to get lights and string them around. And I'm not doing any of that stuff. Like, if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm no objection at all. But I'm not doing it. And then she put the I guess we had this lantern or this light fixture, or I didn't even recognize that we had it, which shows you how much I pay attention. But she had it on one of the shelves, and then she moved that and put the Christmas tree there, and then she put the lantern thing on top of the fridge. I'm like, what are you doing there? Well, why is that going on top of the fridge all of a sudden? She's like, well, that's the Christmas tree went where this was, so I don't know where. I was like, put that in the box the Christmas tree went in, and then put the box where the box used to be, was where I got it. I was like, I'll put it back up there if you need to. But she just saw an empty spot on top of the refrigerator, and just like last week, the empty spot has to be filled. Oh, and then she beat me in I need to listen to this. We play Yahtzee, right? And if you don't play Yahtzee, you get a score sheet, you get a scorecard, and on the scorecard there's 6 games, 6 individual games. And then what you're supposed to do is you add all those total numbers up, and then whoever wins that, wins the overall game. Okay? So we play like 1 or 2 games a day on average. Okay? And then whoever wins the whole scorecard has to treat the other one to in and out, because we have our in and out dates. Our in and out. I couldn't believe, what is this game? We won. We won the first one. Chase won the first game. The second game, I think. Wait, who won? It was 319. Oh yeah, this is the second game I lost. So we played 6 games. I couldn't believe it. So the first game, it was so bad. It was so bad. I'm just gonna fast forward. I'm just gonna fast forward. It's gonna be. I lost by 35 points. The total, she had 1,395 points. I had 1,360. So I lost by 35 points. Now, it all came down. My last 2 things, I could have got a Yahtzee, which was worth 50, and a large straight, which was worth 40. And so I tried to go for a Yahtzee. I missed the Yahtzee, so I had to cross off either the large straight or the Yahtzee. I was like, okay, I need as many points as I can. This is before we added these all up, so I couldn't tell how many points I needed. So I crossed off this large straight. And then so the next turn I rolled again, and I can only go for a Yahtzee. The first roll, I rolled a large straight. That would have been 40 points, and I would have beat her. So that's what it all came down to. One goddamn roll. I was... put this box away. Every time I see that box now, I'm just going to think 35 points. 35 points. We played 6 games over the course of a week, and I lost by 35 points. What is wrong with me? So many things. A plethora of things. But wanted to talk. There's a story about I almost got killed. I haven't told anybody the story. I haven't even told Corey the story. Almost got killed, and it's by a small inanimate object, but it was traveling probably 200 miles an hour, and it almost hit me within a good foot. And I'm not exaggerating. I want to exaggerate, but I can't, because I didn't even realize that I almost died until a few minutes after. Well, not minutes, but a few seconds. So I was like, my adrenaline went up. I was like, holy crap. I was running, jogging on the side of the road, walking mostly, because my feet, my plantar fasciitis. And all of a sudden I hear, whoop, and I saw at the same time, I hear like a whistling, kind of like, whoop, and I'm running. And then all of a sudden I see this green flash by me, a little green orb ball figure flash kind of in front of me, land on the dirt, hit the dirt, kicks the dirt up about, I would say, 1.5 feet, 2 feet behind my right foot, and then just go out. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I was running next to a golf course. A golf ball, if I would have been going a little bit faster, who knows? My left cheekbone would have been hit, fractured, my whole side of my face gone. Oh, hits me in the side of the temple, dead, side of the road. Nobody gets, because there's nobody's, cars don't really drive by that often. I'm down on the side of the road. They could think I'm some bum. There's a lot of them in San Diego. Like, oh, look at that bum sleeping on the side of the road. Is he wearing Nike shorts? Those are expensive. No, he got those on sale. Got those on sale. It's Black Friday. But yeah, this huge, just whoop, and I was like, holy crap. And then I saw, as I got up, I saw these guys teeing off. And there's a huge fence blocking the road, but it still got over somehow. So now I run on the I run on the side of the road that the fence is on. Run, jog, walk on the side of the fence the road is on. Or the side of the road that the fence is on. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I know what I'm trying to say. But still kind of like food hung over from the turkey dinner. There's a lot. And say that. And then they wanted me to eat pie afterwards. It's like, I don't have any room. I don't have any room. I can't do it. I already felt like crap. Just, today. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever look at green golf balls the same way again. Just can't do it. I found out something interesting about my girlfriend. She lays down in the shower like an animal, and relaxes, apparently. She washes herself. She takes a whole shower and then lays down in the shower to relax. So she lays down in her filth after the shower. Now, I can see before, maybe. I can see laying down in the shower. My little brother sleeps in the shower. And I think my stepdad also lays down in the shower. I think I remember hearing stories about him falling asleep in the shower. And then there was one shower, I guess it was just a normal stand-up shower. You imagine a giant truck driver, bearded male, curled up like in the fetal position, just sleeping in the shower. If you ever wonder why we have water shortages, truck drivers sleep in the showers, and their kin do as well, and their offspring. I don't know. No, kin is like your siblings, I think, if I remember correctly. But I guess my stepdad was sleeping in the shower, and his ass pressed up against the drain, but he fell asleep, and I guess it just overflowed with water. My mom was laughing. I think I vaguely remember that story. And then she told me his ass had the print, the outline of the drainage, all these little squares on his ass. That was one of the stories that she was laughing about. But whose fault is this? I want to get in the shower. I kind of want to relax. Maybe put my hands on the walls, and just kind of relax. But sleeping? Come on, guys. Come on. Are your ancestors like cave people who just sat out in the rain and just slept all day? Like, why are you sleeping with water being drizzled all over you? Doesn't make any sense. And then if that were the case, like, do they count showers? That's what if it rains on them, do they count that as a shower? I don't know if that has a connection, but it's just, I don't understand. You sleep with water going on. I don't know. Just what kind of human being lays down in their own? She's like, I clean the bathtub with bleach once every 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that's clean. I'm not saying but it's still a little weird. And then we were playing Yahtzee. This will be the last girlfriend story. She did a few other things. I can't remember. I always mean to write these things down, but the first, because I never farted around her for the first year or so that I knew her. And if anybody knows me, I fart a lot. I have a lot of gas. Some would say it's a problem, but it usually doesn't smell that bad. At times it does, but I'd say 50-50, 60-40, whichever way you want to go. And so I'm laying in bed. This is a story that I told her sister, because I had to because it's rude. I'm sitting there laying in bed. We're cuddling and snuggling. And then all of a sudden, she grabs the bed sheets and puts them over my head. And so I'm trapped inside. I'm like, what is she doing some kind of cute thing? And then I smell one of the worst smells. I couldn't breathe for 2-3 seconds. The air was thick. It was really thick. And so I'm like, oh my, and then I just outpowered her and took the sheets off of me. And I was like, what are you doing? And then she's like, you've never heard of a Dutch oven? I'm like, yeah, I've heard of it. What makes you think I haven't? You don't just do that. And that was the first time. And she was like, well, I thought you heard me fart and I was embarrassed. And then so I thought I'd make it funny. I was like, by almost killing me? That's not what you do. And it's the first time. So I was like, okay, that's how we're playing the game. You just want to trap me and you want to try to murder me, suffocate me to death. Okay. So from then on, I just let it rip. Just let it, especially if I'm sitting on wood chairs. If I'm in the shower, you put your butt up against the wall and then and then it echoes in the house. I mean, I'm like, okay, lady, look, you made an error. Okay. You struck first. You used the nuclear bomb unethically. Okay. Now you're going to pay for it. We don't use mustard gas anymore. That's a crime against humanity. That's against the Geneva Convention. So she's paying for it. But granted, mine don't really smell, so it's just a loud, obnoxious noise. So I wish sometimes they smelled worse than they have been. They smelled worse a few years ago, I would say, before I met her. But maybe like the diet that I'm on is better now. I don't know. It's an interesting thought experiment. Why do my farts smell worse 10 years ago than they do right now? It's like maybe because you were eating like garbage. I'm like, oh, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. But Jesus, man, I can still remember gasping for air on that one. It was rough, to say the least. But yeah, so I haven't been doing too much else. Got my Xbox, as everybody knows. Been playing Assassin's Creed. Me and my girlfriend still trying to get through Gears of War. We're not really we're watching Steve Rinella's Meat Eater, a Netflix show, which is good. I like how they take in hunting and how difficult it is, like the mind games a hunter goes through, and the way he I don't know if the right word is eloquates it, and the way he describes, the way he I guess the way he describes the hunt and like what he sees, what he goes through, and like the respect for the land and the animal and the history. I'm just like, geez, this guy is like really, really into it. And that gets me into it. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about hunting like that. When I was really young, I was like, I was so stupid. I was so dumb. I was like, why do people ride horses? That's not fair. Do you think the horses should ride the people? That's why I was like, what? And then I was, 5 to 10 years old. And I realized, oh, this is how human beings progressed to where I can live in a house that, has hot water flooded. I was like, oh, okay. You know what? Keep riding the horses. I'm good. I don't think we should suffer for animals that, live, 5 or 6 years out into the wild and they freeze to death or they starve to death or they are eaten by bears or wolves. I got that. Okay. That seems like a better death, like a quick arrow through a heart. If you had to give me a choice, what would you rather do? Freeze to death, starve, or be eaten alive by wild animals? Or option D, arrow or bullet straight through the heart. I'll take the bullet arrow when I'm mature and I've had sex with a bunch of different does. I was like, okay, that's cool. That's another thing these animal activists, they don't mention that the male sleeps around with dozens of females. And then they also, if another male encroaches, I think that's the right word, encroaches on their territory, those two males fight to the death. Interesting. But the animals are so peaceful. I thought they were one with the universe and it's all a circle. And I was like, no, they will kill each other. And then the males will stay alive and kill all the young up and coming bucks. And they'll even have, there was one, what was it? There was some story, some lady, she killed this, like a really old giraffe. And I guess when giraffes get to a certain age, they start turning black. And there was this big male giraffe. I don't know what a male giraffe is called. Probably a name for it. I should probably look that up. But she got all this shit for it. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of messed up, to killing this old giraffe. But I didn't know that old giraffe, they detailed why the lady killed it, or they were why they hunted it. Because you usually don't hunt giraffes. But that old giraffe was killing all the young males, so they couldn't take over his territory. And this giraffe was sterile. I think that's the right word. And so it couldn't reproduce. So the giraffe numbers were dropping. But all you saw on social media and all these posts is rude hunter kills rare giraffe, and it's all this. I was like, no, that giraffe was an asshole, killing off young. You didn't care about the young males he was killing. You didn't care about that. You just cared about this lady. Now, granted, you probably shouldn't have took a picture with it, but you're a hunter. You kill things, you take pictures with it, and then the giraffe meat went to local villages and tribes and all that stuff. So I was like, who people who are not in that world are criticizing? And I think we have a lot going on today in that, and as far as other things are going to, as well. Let me tell you how to do your job, even though I've never done a second of it. It's like me going up to like LeBron James. Do you really have to dunk that hard on Jason Terry? Did you really have to catch that and then stare at him? Did you have to do that? Like that's how you play basketball. Loser. That's what he would say. But where was I going? Oh, the Steve Rinella thing. Yeah. So it's just interesting how he like skins a deer, cuts it up. Like you cut, like, so you don't get hairs on the meat. There's a certain way to cut it. It's just real interesting. He kind of breaks it down, and then he breaks down. He has multiple cookbooks, I think, and they got like they took a plane out in the middle of Alaska, shot a elk. I think it was an elk. Might have been a deer. Can't remember. Anyway, shot an animal. Okay, and then they picked blueberries up from this, like a wild blueberries out in the wilderness. They picked the blueberries. They picked up like other little seasoning things they got off other plants. They made this like gourmet meal that people would pay hundreds of dollars for in cities, and made it in Alaska out in the middle of nowhere. It was so good. It looked so good. It tasted amazing. Were you there, Chase? No, I wasn't. I was warm in my house watching it with my girlfriend. Just real interesting. Oh, this is what I wanted to finish. Funeral, burials, alternate ways to bury yourself. I remember there's a resomation. I remember I did a whole bunch of other things. I'm going to recap this. Traditional burials, obviously cremation. Mummification still goes on today. That's crazy. Tree burials, they put you in a box and then hang you from a tree. Cryonics, obviously they freeze you. Tree planting, the newest talked about burial is having your ashes placed into soil with a seed of a plant, which doesn't affect the tree's DNA, which is weird. So then you're not even really a human tree. It's not even like you're not even really a part of the tree. Your ashes are just in the dirt along with it. So it sounds cooler than it is. Aquamation. Aquamation is a procedure of being bathed in water, which speeds up the deterioration process. This obviously isn't the nicest way to dispose of or bury a body. However, some see it as a better alternative from being burnt in a furnace. Like can you imagine being turned into a slush? Ugh. Resomation. Resomation is an eco-friendly burial method that decomposes the body using alkali, ALKALI, and water-based solution under high pressure. Sounds like this breaks down the body into a liquid and bone ash. Oh, the liquid can be recycled into the ecosystem by pouring it into a garden or nature. Ugh. And then it has like this like circular tube, and then inside the circular tube is a bag of ash. And it's just, that's what's left of you. The coolest option, I was trying to read, and I'm not the best person to read out loud, obviously, as you can tell. But I was reading, I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I was reading it, and there was old English names, and like, what am I trying to say? Like Viking words, like Grenspire Bridge and all these other things. And I'm trying to read this letter in the game, and I'm like, Grenspire Bridge and Lishuani, Lishire. And I'm like, and she's like, you're a terrible reader. Stop reading out loud. I was like, I'm trying to sleep. I didn't realize I was reading it out loud. And then she insulted me and saying, I was like, that was really rude, dude. You said, so it wasn't that bad. I was like, I understand. She was trying to sleep. It's fine. But so I just wanted to make her feel bad. I think I did for a little bit, but then I obviously had to tell her. I was like, I'm joking. I don't care if you think I'm a bad reader. It's fine. It's not one of my top 5 skill sets. But it says space burials, the coolest option and my personal favorite. My family best get saving. It says it's never too late to go to space. Space burials are practiced by launching ashes, or for a higher cost, the full remains of the deceased into a space via a rocket. Although this isn't the eco-friendliest way to be buried, it sure is the most interesting. Could you imagine just being, but like, are you in low Earth orbit, or are you just sent out into space? I would want to be sent out like a continuous, put some solar panels on the coffin so it always has some energy, like a whole bunch of them, and then just head it towards a planet. So maybe in like 100,000 years, 200,000 years, I'll arrive at a destination and alien species will be like, what is this? You go for the long game. You go for the long one. That'd be awesome. If I was real rich, if I was Elon Musk, he has to have his body shot out into space, right? Just gold plate his body like they did that record and send it out into space. Dissolution is the quick and easy process of a body being placed into a tank of strong chemicals, causing it to dissolve. So basically, like acid. It's boiling acid. Promession. Promession is an eco-friendly burial method. The body is transformed into a fertilizer, like cow dung, by being frozen in liquid nitrogen and turned into a powder. This helps plant life grow by spreading it into the soil, which eventually deteriorates into compost. See, I'm getting better at reading. I just got to, I got to get in the flow. It's like a muscle. Leaving your family with wonderful tomatoes come spring. Ugh. Like all these things are like supposedly better, but supposedly. Plastination. Plastination of the body is a process of removing all liquids from the body, sucking it dry. I know a few ladies that'll do that, whilst allowing only tissue mass to remain, preserving it and preventing the body from decaying. Incredibly, the body is then turned into a plastic-like mannequin and is used for educational purposes. A little like a real world and very creepy Madame Tussauds. I don't know who that is. I have to look that up. Let me look that up. Let me type that up. Let me do some research here on the podcast. Madam, excuse me if you hear any clicking. If it annoys you, go fuck yourselves. Madame Tussauds. Madame Tussauds? I don't know what this is. Madame Tussauds is a wax museum. Oh, it's a wax museum in London. It has smaller museums in a number of other major cities. It was founded by a wax sculptor, Marie Tussauds, in 1835. It used to be spelled Madame Tussauds. The apostrophe is no longer used. Oh, okay. So it's just a museum. Exposure. This is interesting. Exposure, also known as sky burial. Could you name it sky burial? Because that sounds way cooler. Sounds like how Vikings have they send the dead off in the little boat. I forget what they call that. Oh, I think it's called a Viking burial. I answered my own damn question. Also known as sky burial, is very common in locations such as Tibet, where the ground is not suitable to dig graves and a lack of resources makes it difficult to cremate bodies. What is going on in Tibet? Come on, catch up to the rest of the world here. We got a whole bunch of stuff and we're way younger than you. The body of the deceased, that's another thing I want to talk about. How young America is and how advanced we are. These other countries lagging behind. Slow. What was so special about, we came from all the other countries and we're like, hey, all these other countries are doing this really, really shitty. So let's improve upon it. And then, oh, look at this, the greatest country in the world. Oh, and I pretend like I was a part of it, even though I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. The body is deceased and is released into the wild to allow animals and natural elements to dispose of it. Yep, eaten or left to rot. Often they remove skin or remove the limbs to speed up the deterioration process. Then they cover the body with a mixture of milk, flour, tea, and barley to attract animals. You just said you don't have a lot of resources, and you're making meals for these animals? Oh, that's terrible. Memorial diamonds. One for the missus. Exactly. Because guys will not put dead people's diamonds on their bodies. If she loves diamonds, which she does because she's a woman, so much, just tell her she will be one sooner rather. Hey, you like diamonds, huh? Well, when you die, when you go, I'm going to turn you into one. You materialistic, money grubbing. No, I'm just yeah, for one for the missus. If she loves diamonds so much, just tell her she will be one sooner rather than later if she isn't careful. Memorial diamonds are made by pressurizing hair or ashes of the deceased in the same way real diamonds are made, but quicker. This can be then made into jewelry or as a keepsake for your loved ones. I couldn't admit. I think my mom brought that up. She wanted to turn her parents' ashes into a diamond and then wear her. I was like, could you imagine living your whole life supporting your kid and then your kid burns you alive and then uses the ashes to, now you're hanging from your daughter's ear and they're like, ooh, is that a real diamond or Cubert zirconium? No, it's my mom and my dad mixed. My mom's on my right ear, my dad's on the left. They're always together. They were a pair. Now they're always together. I just can't wait for it's like your grandparents die, you make them earrings, and you can't wait for your parents to die so you can make a bracelet. It's like, oh, you got the 2 bracelets? Yes, I got the collection. I got the grandparents and the grandparents collection and the parents. It's nice. Can't wait for my husband to die so I can get a pinky ring. Like, how many diamonds? Like, how obsessed? Now, okay. Women talk a lot of shit about guys and their sports and their video games. Throughout the course, since I've been alive, we get shit. What are you doing? It's stupid. We do not love something as much as you guys love diamonds to take our deceased loved ones and turn them into the thing. Nobody has an Xbox made out of their grandparents. So just like to put that out there. Just like to point that out. Like, oh, that's a nice thing. I get to wear. I like jewelry, and I'm sad that my parents died, so let me carry them around. No, nobody has like their Xboxes. Oh my god, hanging coffins is one of them. Hanging coffins were an ancient burial technique and not seen on coastlines today. I wonder why not on coastlines. The deceased were hung on the side of a cliff. However, it is not confirmed how they were placed there, and it remains an enigma to the modern world. It just shows this giant cliff, and then it has like, I'm going to say 12 wooden boxes, different types of wooden boxes put on the side of a cliff. It's really high up. That's interesting. But it says not on coastlines today. That'd be weird. You just put a box with a dead body in it on the side of a cliff. And unless you're a rock climber, like those assholes aren't going to get it. And how do you get it up? That's weird. Sea burial. 6 feet under, being turned into an ornament or a luxury stone and being sent into space are not the only places of burial. The sea is very common, especially among sailors. For a place of burial burial for cultural, religious, and recourse reasons. I'm slowing down in my reading now. Most of the time, you are wrapped into a blanket and cast into the sea on a small boat. Don't think luxury yacht here. More tiny wooden rowing boat. Can you imagine owning a yacht, being a rich guy, putting your dead body on it, and then burning it and just sending it out to the ocean? It's like, well, are we in international waters? Yeah, Lou, light him up. This is what he wanted. This way his ex-wife can't get half of this. Home burial. Although, just shitting on women. Although ground burials are the most popular way to be buried, doing it at home are not as common. Are not as common? Is not as common, shouldn't it? Although ground burials are the most popular way to... Listen to me. I can't even read, and I'm trying to figure out if his grammar, this person's grammar is correct. I said his. Are you saying that writers are only men, you sexist pig? Although ground burials are the most popular way to be buried, doing it at home is not as common. Should be is not as common. Maybe I'm just dumb. Doing it at home are not as common. Maybe because it's plural, like burials. There's R. I don't know. These is reserved for Spot the dog. This is reserved for Spot the dog. However, some families would prefer this method of burial because they can feel close to their family member and never fully get over their death. ? Too much like Bates Motel for my liking. Oh, so you just bury them at home. Yeah, I always thought, like, if you have land, why don't you just bury your dead on your own land? That's what I thought when my grandmother died. I always thought she would be buried like on her own land. But then that'd be kind of, if you want to sell that land, that'd be kind of weird. He's like, yeah, you can have this land, but my grandmother stays. Her headstone stays. You gotta route the plumbing around it. But she's deep. We put her 10 feet down, so she's fine. Well, you won't have to. But then you wonder, like, it'd be so interesting. I wonder if, say, like old burial grounds that we forget about, and say like a huge cemetery, or just some people buried out in the middle of nowhere, and then like that town or that kind of kind of forgets about it, and then we rediscover it 20,000 years later, or 100,000 years later. I wonder if they would still be around, because there were some guys. Me and Corey went hiking, and there were some guys. He was buried out in the middle. Like they were, I can't remember. They were trying to get somewhere, some trail they were trying to get through, and he died like kind of on the way. And they buried him there, and they put a tombstone up and like these rocks, and it's still there. Like they found it, they preserved something like that from the 1800s. And I'm like, that is nuts. That guy was buried 200 something years ago. And then I wonder, are those rocks really the rocks that those people put there that long ago? Or was it it discovered and it was like a small thing, then they put the tombstone there, say 50 years ago, and it just looks really old? I wonder. Body donation. When you die, some organs can remain healthy. Body and organ donations are extremely important following the advances in modern medicine, and can often save lives or improve the lives of those with serious conditions. Before organ donation was possible, bodies were often used for medical purposes. So just, okay. Ornament? With the new 3D printing technology, this has opened a whole range of new opportunities for graphic designers who want to become a throwaway piece of plastic. Wika Somers has invented a process of turning human ashes into an ornament via 3D printing. How stuff has gone too far. Pretty cool, to be fair. 3D printed burial, anyone? ? Become a coral reef. Give it back to humanity. Give it back to the sea. Ironic, really, that as humans destroy coral around the world, hey, they've been taken over the whole time. Okay, it's time of the human beings. I don't like Team Reef. I like Team Human. There are many ways to become one with the earth. When you die, as we have discussed, now becoming a coral reef is one of them. The company Eternal Reef. Gotta try to sneeze. I don't want to sneeze. Eternal Reef places your ashes into a natural reef mold mould. I don't know what that word means. Which is then deposited into the sea as a coral reef burial. This will attract colorful sea life and create a wonderful spot for a bit of scuba diving. What does that mean? How do you know it's going to create a wonderful spot? A little more fun than a wet Sunday morning dip trip to the Croton crematorium. Is that some kind of fish? Is that some kind of Finding Nemo joke? I don't get. Ashes to portraits. Mixing ashes with paint doesn't sound ideal. However, this can create a beautiful piece of art in the hands of the right artist. What's that hanging on the wall? That's Grandma Mildred. Maybe not 3 years old. Oh, maybe not 3-year-old Daisy. What did it just say? But this can have a priceless and sentimental value. Oh, like a 3-year-old. I thought it meant the 3-year-old Daisy, a girl, is dead, and then you take her ashes and put her on the wall, and that's not ideal. Like, oh, so like your kid painting. Okay, that's what it meant. It didn't infer that a child died. I was like, this is getting a little dark. Granted, we're talking about death, so it doesn't really matter. But this can have a priceless and sentimental value to someone who has lost their loved ones. Not one for antique roadshows unless it's Elvis's ashes, then go for it. Getting turned into a firework. This is going on a little bit longer than I thought, but hey, let's talk about getting turned into a firework. As we have seen, there are many imaginative and expressive ways to experiment to spread someone's ashes or bury them in the most explosive. But this is the most explosive. Ashes are simply added to a firework and bang, a colorful and quick goodbye. Don't try this at home and check with bill payer. Or bill payer? I don't know what that means. Don't try this home and check with bill payer. Vinyl compression? You can be turned into a record? Oh, talk about death metal. DJs rejoice. That was an easy one. This is a great idea for a late music lover. This service allows your ashes to be compressed into a vinyl record of your favorite tune or the most irritating tune ever if you're a sadistic side. That would be funny. Just a record of you like calling your relatives gay and stupid. You can even leave a voice message for loved ones. Yes, that's what I said. That's my idea. But each of their own. Stick me with a Dire Straits record and I'll be happy. You can turn it into a record label. And that is it. That's the last one. Be turned into a record. Be awesome. Kind of want to be turned into a record. That would be incredibly fun. Let's see what else we got here in the news. Oh, I saw something. Listen to this story. I don't know if you've heard. This is one of the only like celebrity stories I kind of like. Is the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp relationship abuse issue. Well, she is obviously going to take a whole bunch of his money, which is fine. She deserves it, right? She was in all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Yeah, she dressed up as Edward Scissorhands. She deserves that money. So Amber Heard and Johnny Depp are in an abusive relationship on both sides, by the way. So let's point that out. All you ladies out there, he was a jerk. No, she beat him up too. He's a little frail actor. But it was funny. I read this article. Amber Heard reportedly talking with Margot Robbie for Pirates of the Caribbean role. She wants to take this man's money, bring out that they had an abusive relationship on both sides, get him fired from the Harry Potter franchise, get him fired from Pirates of the Caribbean, and then take the role in the movie franchise that he started. If this isn't a vindictive bitch, I don't know what is. This is amazing. I respect the hell out of this because this is the most like petty, if this is true, allegedly. This is hilarious if this happens because no guy would go see this movie at all, ever. You're not going to go see a Pirates of the Caribbean movie without Johnny Depp. That is not, I'm not going to, no. Just how people are not going to go see, I was going to say Space Jam 2 without Michael Jordan. It'd be awesome if Michael Jordan was in it though, as as a cameo. Like he's tied up and the Monstars have him in that, and they're still like they're they're doing what the bad guy said he was going to do. Take Michael Jordan and put him on the planet, and then have and he'd lose, and he's tied up to the ball and chain. You'd play a 1-on-1 with our paying customers, and you'll always lose. That'd be cool. And then Michael Jordan has to, or LeBron James has to come rescue him. But then I don't think Michael Jordan would be put in that weakened position, I would say. Oh, but that would be so interesting if that were true. She's trying to take that over, and then she thinks she won. She filmed the movie. It releases, and nobody goes and sees it. Oh. Yes. Yes. This is interesting. It's from CNN.com. Most people say Neanderthals, but I guess it's pronounced Neanderthals. But I just sound like an arrogant asshole when I say Neanderthal. If you were to greet a Neanderthal with a handshake, it might feel a little awkward. The digits of the Stone Age people who went extinct about 40,000 years ago, which wasn't that long ago, were much chunkier than ours. What's more, a Neanderthal's thumb might have stuck out from his hand at much a wider angle. If you were to shake a Neanderthal's hand, you would notice this difference, said Emeline Bardo, a postdoctoral research fellow at the University of Kent School of Anthropology and Conservation in the United Kingdom. There would be confusion over where to place the thumb. And for a thumb fight, I would think you would win in terms of speed and movement, she said, via email. Let me see. Read more. I want to read more. I want to hear about the thumbs. Then how did they... See, this is where my mind goes. Did they masturbate? And if they masturbated, is the thumb different? Like, how does that work? If it's wider, the little chunkier hands, I wonder if that felt weird. You wonder. I can't click on the read more. Why not? All right, I think it worked now. Analysis of joint movement. The researchers used 3D mapping to analyze the joints between the bones responsible for the movement of the thumb, referred to as the trapeziometacarpal complex. That's interesting. Our study is novel in looking at how the variation of the shapes and orientations of the different bones and joints relate all together. So it's just like a theory. But, oh, my goodness. It's just kind of cool how they're finding out little details. They're trying to piece it together. And then I wonder if the next evolution of people, they're going to look back at us and be like, yeah, human beings used to wear these weird Fitbit watches instead of having it implanted into their brain. One developer sneaks emulators. Okay, that. Video shows a drunk squirrel swing. This is kind of funny. I would look this up. A drunk squirrel spotted swaying back and forth after eating fermented pears has become an internet sensation. So look that up. Drunk squirrel by insider.com. Nice little funny video. Okay, let's see. Loading back up. It's weird. It always has to reload. Assassin's Creed got a new title update, which is awesome. Fixes a few issues. I haven't played it since the update. My girlfriend has been asking me to hang out lately. Ugh. Rather, leave me alone so I can play video games, please. I'm sorry for being so codependent. I like that. I like that about her. She's cute. Here's another thing by NationalGeographic.com. Leafcutter ants have rocky crystal armor never seen before in insects. Well, I don't know who else has rocky crystal armor. I sure don't. You have 3 free articles left this month. Get away from me. Get away from me. Free articles. You should be happy that I'm going onto your website giving you free ad reads. Enter your email to continue. I can't even... Never mind. I was going to say look that up. But I forgot that you can't look that up on nationalgeographic.com. Let's see what else we got here. This is a CNN article. This is funny. Ghislaine Maxwell is woken up in her cell every 15 minutes by flashlight to see if she's still breathing, her lawyer says. So her lawyer is complaining that the police officers who got her boyfriend killed, basically, or let her boyfriend die, or get killed, commit suicide, whatever you want to say. Now they're complaining that they're watching her too closely, that she can't get sleep. Well, do you want to go to the eternal sleep? Because people are coming for you. Despite nonstop in-cell camera surveillance, Miss Maxwell's sleep is disturbed every 15 minutes. Of course, it's probably every hour. And she's saying that, every 15 minutes I'm being mistreated when she is awakened by a flashlight. If allegations are true, you deserve not to sleep. By a flashlight to ascertain. I was going to say, I'm so bad at reading. Ascertain whether she is breathing. Maxwell, who is awaiting her trial at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn, New York, is in de facto solitary confinement under the most restrictive conditions, according to her legal counsel. Maxwell is excessively and evasively searched and monitored 24 hours per day. Treatment, her lawyer says, is more restrictive than prisoners convicted of terrorism or capital murder. Yeah, that's because the person she's linked to, quote unquote, killed himself in a cell by himself. Maxwell was placed in quarantine earlier after staff members who in her area detected detention center tested positive for COVID-19. She tested negative for the virus. If there's one person that needs to get it, right, is showing no symptoms according to the letter. The stepped up in security follows Epstein's death last summer while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges at a different federal facility. It's very interesting. I would love to know the truth about all that. But we'll never get it, will we? They're just going to delay this whole process. And it's just a little, it's not even a headline article anymore. Sex trafficker, millionaire. Yeah. Okay, next thing. Did you hear what Trump said? Oh my God, the world is ending. There's this interesting thing. The Utah helicopter crew, it's always a helicopter crew causing issues, discovers mystery metal monolith deep in the desert. And they won't, at the time, they wouldn't announce where this was, but people found it on Google Earth. It started as a routine wildlife assistance. A routine wildlife assistance took an extraterrestrial turn for Utah's Department of Public Safety after officers stumbled upon a mysterious monolith in the middle of the rural Utah. Officers from the Utah Department were flying a helicopter last Wednesday, helping the Division of Wildlife Resources count bighorn sheep. We got to know how many there are. They're going to run rampant. Kill them, Earl. When they spotted something that seemed right out of 2001: A Space Odysseys. One of the biologists spotted it, and we just happened to fly directly on top of it. He was like, whoa, turn around. And I was like, what? He's like, there's a thing back there. We've got to look at it. And this thing, it looks like it's about 10 feet tall, maybe. Yeah, between 10. Oh, look at that. I just said that by the height of it, standing next to a normal guy. And the normal guy is in front of it. So I'm pretty good at measuring the size of things. Whoa. And there it was. In the middle of the red rock was a shiny silver metal monolith sticking out of the ground. Hutchinson's guessed it was between 10 and 12 feet high. It didn't look like it was randomly dropped to the ground, he told KSL, but rather it looked like it had been planted. Ooh. We were kind of joking around that if one of us suddenly disappears and the rest of us would make a run for it. Still, Hutchinson said he thinks it was most likely placed there by an artist rather than an alien. Yeah, no shit. I think it was some crazy person. Yeah. Just get is it metal from Earth? Or actually, I think all the metal. Is it metal that we recognize? I'm assuming it's some new wave artist or something, somebody that has a big 2001 Space Odyssey fan, he said, referring to a scene in 1968 film where a black monolith appears. Still, it is illegal to install structures or art without the authorization on public lands, no matter what planet you are from, said Utah DPS in a statement released Monday. The location of the monolith has not been disclosed, and it is not yet clear who or what put the monolith there. It's just this big old rectangle, silver rectangle, sitting out in the middle of the desert. It's kind of cool looking. It's all shiny and shit. It seems like they cleaned it before they took photos. Like it looks really good. It looks really clean, pristine. And it's out in the middle of the fucking nowhere. And it's in the middle, like and it's kind of surrounded, not in a canyon, but there's walls around it that seem to be 50, 60 feet tall. And it's in this like a little corner. It's a very interesting place to put that. I'm just wondering. And then I'm just thinking Xbox is going to put their monolith thing right next to it. Probably that'd be awesome. And this is a headline I was reading. I like reading not weird science stuff, but little scientist discoveries. This headline started out so good. Curiosity finds evidence. This is a rover on Mars. Curiosity finds evidence of ancient, and I'm just sitting there like, no way. What did they find? Ancient mega flood on Mars. I was like, oh, mega. Yeah, it had water. We knew that. And then it shows like this canyon with like basically it looks like it's being like looks like the Grand Canyon basically. I'm like, yeah, we don't lead me into that because it's like found evidence of the ancient and then it cut off. And so when I clicked on it, then it opened up mega flood on. I was like, oh, ancient civilization. Come on, I'm waiting for ancient civilization. That one, like obviously there's water on Mars, and then there's got to be fossils on Mars. And then what do those look like? And then if we find human remains on there, I'm going to freak out. Human-like remains? Water people, maybe? Who knows? All right, we're an hour into it. That's all pretty much I got today. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I have a YouTube channel. Just search Chase Carter on there if you want. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Chase Carter. Same thing on there. Me and my friend Ray do a podcast called Video Games and Nonsense on Tuesdays. You can check that out. I appreciate it. It's just more nonsense, me blabbering about nothing. If you're one of the 5 family members that listen to this, I appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll be posting another one next week. All right, you guys take it easy. Easy on you. You got this shit knocking, bro.